This is the third video in the How to Be a Yo-Yo Champion series. In this video, I'm going to teach you how tricks score so you can have a better approach to building a set of tricks for contests. In order to build a trick that scores, you need to know what scores and what doesn't. To start things off, the yo-yo has to be spinning in order to receive points. Also, both the yo-yo and the string must be interacting with each other. For example, in a picture trick like this, the yo-yo is not involved at all, so it's not going to score. As well as a trick like this where the yo-yo is just sitting in a mount and you're doing different string maneuvers, that's not going to score either. Also, in a trick like a finger spin, where the yo-yo is just bouncing between your fingers, something like that's not going to score either because the string's not involved. It's not that these tricks can't be flashy or cool, but because both the string and yo-yo are not interacting with one another, they won't be scored according to the contest rules. All the other divisions also have other unique rules that determine how elements are scored. In 2A, if one of the two yo-yos isn't active, the trick won't score. The most obvious example of this is performing loops with one yo-yo while the other yo-yo is not in play. A yo-yo can also be spinning but not considered active if it is not involved in a 2A element. For example, if one yo-yo is merely sleeping while the other is doing inside loops with the other hand, no points will be rewarded. 3A is similar to this in the sense that both yo-yos also need to be active. For example, if one yo-yo is sitting in a trapeze while not moving, it doesn't matter what the other yo-yo is doing, the trick won't be scored. In 4A, any trick performed where the yo-yo doesn't leave the string will not be scored, even if there's a level of difficulty involved in the trick. This includes both looping elements as well as rolling elements where the yo-yo never leaves the string. In 5A, both the yo-yo and the counterweight have to be active and must be interacting with one another to score. So simply pinwheeling the counterweight while doing tricks with the yo-yo is not scoreable. In a competition, you're given between 30 seconds and 3 minutes depending on the contest. Within the allotted time, you want to score as many clicks as possible, but the important thing to know is you earn clicks per element, not per trick. For example, this trick is made up of 3 elements: a trapeze, a whip, and a bind. Each of these elements are clicked individually. It's not just the number of elements that are taken into consideration when scoring, but the difficulty is considered as well. By replacing easier elements with more difficult elements, you can get clicked higher. An example of this would be to go directly into the whip instead of doing a trapeze first. Even though there are fewer elements in this version of the trick, it will most likely score higher because of the increase in difficulty. This is also more efficient because it takes less time to perform the trick in this way. Another thing to keep in mind is that you want to avoid doing repeated elements, since any element that is repeated will not be scored a second time. It can be a little difficult at first to know what is considered a repeated element and what is not, so I'll give you a few examples. First, just because the yo-yo is landing into an identical mount that you've done before, that does not mean that the element has been repeated. For example, there are many ways to get into the 1.5 mount. Directly, from a whip, a hop, all of these are considered different elements, so they will all be scored. In general, if the yo-yo is doing the same maneuver while the string is in a different formation, the trick element is still considered the same or repeated. For example, when you do a double on in a double or nothing, then you do a double on in a triple or nothing, the element is still considered the same. This goes for any other string formation as well. If you get into a more complex mount, then do a double on, the element is still the same as when performed in the other 2 mounts, so it's not going to score. Sometimes players create a trick with a theme. For example, a trick where a player keeps doing underpasses with the thumb in different mounts. As the string formation changes and the trick progresses, the player might assume that it's a different element each time because it's happening in a different mount. But because the action of the yo-yo, hands, and string are essentially the same, the element is still considered repeated. Any element can only be scored once within a routine, so when structuring a routine with a lot of different tricks, you don't want to repeat an element that you already did in a previous trick because it won't be scored. While more difficult tricks score higher, it's important to remember that the only way to score points is to land your tricks. When keeping this in mind while preparing for a contest, you can find the right balance of difficulty that will allow you to land all of your tricks and maximize your total clicks. When talking about what tricks click and what tricks don't, what we're really talking about is the technical execution part of the judging system. Another thing to consider when designing tricks is the 3 technical evaluation categories and how those will affect your overall score. Those 3 categories are execution, control, and trick diversity. The first 2 relate to how well your tricks are performed. In the execution category, you're judged by your consistency. If you hit 100% of your tricks, you'll receive a perfect score for this category. The control category, which used to be called cleanliness, judges your mastery of the tricks you perform. When we talk about mastery, we're not talking about your accuracy. That's considered in the execution category. Rather, this category specifically considers how smooth, clean, and controlled your tricks look. When considering control, judges will look for how seamless your transitions are between elements. Your trick should be done without hesitating or pausing when you could be smoothly moving between elements. Judges will note times when the string looks sloppy because it has slack in elements that when perfected should be taut. They'll also consider how your yo-yo lands on the string after elements like hops or whips. The yo-yo should land crisply on the string without any unintentional movement. Taken together, execution and control judge how well you perform your tricks. The third category is trick diversity. This category considers your chosen mix of tricks along with the diverse ways you choose to present those tricks. To score high in this category, you will want a diverse set of tricks. Speed combos, whips, slack elements, tech elements, bangers, horizontal, etc. Diversity of elements alone, though, is only a part of this section and will not earn you a high score. In addition, your presentation of your tricks should be diverse as well. You should do tricks with different pacing and style. You should consider having some tricks that are really smooth and flow gracefully, while others are halting and aggressive. In all of this, when putting together your first routine, you need to find a balance between trick difficulty and tricks that you can hit accurately and perform well. If your tricks are too difficult for you, even when you land them, they may get a lot of clicks in the technical execution category, but you'll lose points in your technical evaluation scores because they won't be controlled or presented well. When you can hit your tricks confidently and controlled, you can then focus on other aspects of the tricks, like how diverse your presentation is, which will also raise your overall score. As you compete more, you will discover a balance that works for you. When keeping all of this in mind, you will be well on your way to building a set of tricks for a contest that will look good and score well.